The Honey Badger has done it! Tom Aspinall is the UFC heavyweight champion. UFC interim heavyweight champion. Now let's dig into this a little bit, shall we? Jon Jones, who is the full heavyweight champion, shall we say, was supposed to defend his title against Stipe Miocic recently, but got injured. So, in his absence, Tom Aspinall gets to go in there and in a quite frankly stunning performance beat Pavlovich in 1 minute and 9 seconds to claim the championship. So now Tom Aspinall is at the top of the heavyweight division. But Jon Jones is still lurking there. He's going to be this omnipresent, lurking shadow over Aspinall's reign until those two can finally sort it out. Now, first things first, do we think that Jones should be allowed to keep the full championship and that Tom has this interim championship? Because right now, today, if Aspinall and Jones fought, wouldn't you think that Tom Aspinall would beat Jon Jones? Jon Jones is injured. Jon Jones is not in any fit shape to be in an octagon. So wouldn't you say that Tom Aspinall is the baddest man in the heavyweight division in the UFC? But yet he has this asterisk, this interim around his title reign. Now, my question is, when Aspinall and Jones hopefully do finally clash, who's going to win? Jon Jones is he's not quite undefeated. His record is a 27 wins and 1 loss. Now, that 1 loss to Matt Hamill is one that is dubious, to say the least. A lot of people think it should be overturned. Jon Jones basically is undefeated. A lot of his career, particularly early on, he wasn't even training. He was just rolling off natural ability. You can dig for yourself and see some night outs that Jones is having before many of his fights. Look at Jones's record. Jones's last fight was March 4th, 2023, against Cyril Gane. Before that, it was against Dominic Reyes, Feb 8th, 2020. So nearly 3 years between those fights. That means that Jon Jones will have had one fight that lasted 2 minutes and 4 seconds in 5 years. In 5 years. Now, he's looked fantastic in those fights. I, for one, thought that when he came back from some of his layoffs that the sport may have moved on, that the other guys would have come through and make Jones look dated in his skills. That didn't happen. Jon Jones is an incredible athlete. But is he going to get any better? 36 years old. He's still got time left. He's a heavyweight. These guys can run long. But is he going to get better? Tom Aspinall, on the other hand, looked incredible. In that 1 minute and 9 seconds, he made some fantastic decisions. He said afterwards he was finding it hard to judge the range on Sergei. And we saw that. If you watch the fight, Sergei was getting close, did connect. And Tom was having to retreat and watch the distance. But Tom very quickly made some decisions, made some adjustments. And you look at the way that Tom moves. I mean, the guy's, what did he weigh in at? 262 pounds, I think he weighed in at for his last fight. 265 is the heavyweight limit. Tom on a normal day is above that heavyweight limit. He's a natural, huge guy. And I've got to say, I've met Tom a few times, and he's much bigger in real life than he looks on screen. He is enormous. He's a natural heavyweight. Tom Aspinall is 30 years old. He's not in his prime yet. Yet he's demonstrated so many incredible skills, physically, mentally, that make him such a dynamic and intriguing heavyweight fighter. And everyone he's been put up against. I mean, look at his last few fights, of course, against Pavlovich, against Tybura, Curtis Blades. That ended with a knee injury. He's come back from that. Volkov, Spivak, Andrei Arlovsky. I mean, Aspinall's CV is strong as hell. And he's only going to keep improving. We know he wants the Jones fight. Jon Jones wants the Tom Aspinall fight. There's a lot of respect between these two. The back and forwards they've had since that fight. Jones congratulating Tom. Jones knows how good Aspinall is. Can Tom Aspinall be the one to beat Jon Jones? I put a poll on my Instagram recently, and I said, who do you think is going to win in a match between Aspinall and Jones? And it was tight. It was tight. But Aspinall just got it. I think now, if Aspinall's goal, and it's going to be the goal all along, every heavyweight wants to face John Jones. John Jones' career for me it's a bit like Conor McGregor's. I feel like some of the best years of their careers were lost. Lost to lifestyle choices. Again, Jones, he's going to fought once in 5 years by the time he comes back. Just think how good John Jones is. Just think what he could have accomplished in those years. There's a lot of gaps in John Jones' career. What could he have done if he hadn't had those layoffs? When Jones does return, is this going to be the final act of his career? Will we see Jones versus Stipe? Will Stipe fancy his chance against Aspinall? Is that a fight we get to see? But Tom Aspinall versus John Jones is the fight I think we all want to see now within the UFC. I think that Tom Aspinall, if he continues to improve, continues to settle into being the UFC heavyweight champion, that could be his fight to lose. If he keeps active, he said he wants to fight on UFC 300, which I think is in April. That will hopefully be his next contest. What will he learn? How will he develop? Will Tom Aspinall, the Brit, the Honey Badger, will he eventually be able to prove that he is the best heavyweight in the UFC? And then we look at other heavyweights out there. Francis Ngannou. How does Aspinall sit up against someone like Ngannou? Some intriguing matchups out there. But for now, let's all bathe in the glory of the Honey Badger at the top of the UFC heavyweight division.